once again, welcome. So let us just go through quickly. This is Anirban. Okay, where is Anirban? Yeah. Anirban, can you see the slide, Anirban?
Yeah, I can see the slide.
Yeah. So I was going through. So I want to emphasize on one thing. When you are doing your template, okay, and when you're creating a point plan, in point plan, ensure now you have written degree 1 at level 1, okay, qualification. So in degree 2, definitely it should be, you know, I wanted clarity whether it is what degree, diploma, or what is it?
Degree or diploma?
Degree or diploma. So if it is degree, then again you will have only 30 points, no? Right? So at level 2, the intensity of the qualification should be higher. So based on the context of your organization, depending on how the intensity gets intensified, the proficiency level gets intensified, then this level 2 should have a higher degree of education as in compared to level 1. Okay, clear?
Okay. Yes.
Otherwise, let me tell you, a guy with degree also is getting 30 points, and then when you will again tell degree diploma, he will get 60 points. But then both are essentially the same. So why should there be a difference of 60 points unless and until there is no intensity of a higher degree of education? Got it? So in point plan, you have to ensure, for example, I'll just say intensity here, 2 to 4 years you are putting here and 5 to 10 years. So there is a difference in the intensity, right? Okay, so this is what I just saw there. And yeah, otherwise I think you've got it really very nice, everything. This one minus plus. Now let me tell you, you may have thought that the market is giving 34,000. The market is giving 36,000, but the pay line salary is 34,000. The market is saying 28 and here it is 27, but here it is 34 and it is 38. Now, essentially, when you are only doing comparing job to job, in any case you can do it. But here what is happening is that you are doing regression. What is regression? Looking at the market data, it is looking at all the jobs market data and the point values of all your jobs, and then looking at the internal parity, and that's how it's giving you this. So sometimes it can be lesser than the market, sometimes it can be more than the market. Yes, so I mean minus and minus. So this column you have put it, but it doesn't really signify anything. Okay, redundant. I mean, this column is redundant. Otherwise, I think you have done a great job. You have got everything right. I'm really surprised. All the assignments I've seen, everybody's got this regression very absolutely right. And I'm very glad and I'm appreciative about it. Okay, because it takes time to learn regression, but all of you have got it. And it's a good job done. Okay. So Anirban, I think it's great job. All right. Now, Jaideep, where is Jaideep? Yeah. Jaideep.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not seeing the point values. You have already done it, right? So when you're doing point values, now job grading, grades become redundant. Okay. This column, no, where you have put grades, right?
Grades.
This column becomes redundant. You can define grades once you have got your pay lines, right? This is for job grading, but job grading is a separate exercise. Point plan is a separate exercise. Okay, got it?
Okay.
Yeah, but otherwise I think your regression 94%. Oh my god, it's too good. You can see that all your points are tightly closer to the pay line. Closer to the pay line. When your points are very far away, that means your data is dependent on other factors other than the point values. Okay, but when your job points are closer, tight to the line, pay line, that shows the 94%, so very close. That means your data is very, very good. Okay, so I congratulate you. You got it. Formula, point value multiplied by slope intercept. I mean, Anirban has got it right, and you've also got it right. Great. This is Rahul. Rahul, where are you, Rahul? Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
great. Let me see Rahul. Rahul has given weightages and I mean, looked at individual contributor, span of control. Yeah. In span of control, Rahul,
Yes.
I want to make a point for you. Now, how they will also get, see, if you have seen span of control, you have put as individual contributor, okay? Level 1, 30 points, right? Level 2, you put individual contributor and you put 60 points. What is the difference between this definition and this definition? That when you are looking at a job description, you'll give 30 to this and 60 to this.
I mean, basis on the experience as well.
Basis on the experience.
Yes, because our first level experience level and the second experience level both will be the individual contributors.
Yeah, I want to
but
clarify.
the experience will differ.
I want to clarify here, Rahul. When you're using a point plan, so he gets for an individual contribution 30 only, but he gets higher points for the experience. Are you getting me?
Yes.
That's how in point plan. So individual contributor, okay. Here individual contributor plus something else you want to add, then you get 60 points. All right. But if it is just individual contributor, you need to clearly define those definitions. Got it?
Sure, ma'am. Got it.
Not have overlaps. Are you understanding the
Understood.
logic, Rahul?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because when you're analyzing, evaluating the job, so obviously that guy will ask you, hey, this is also I see 30 and I see 60. What is the difference? When will I put 30 and when will I put 60? So you should bring in more clarity on that by giving more word definitions. Okay?
Sure. Got it, ma'am.
Got it. Okay. Now, but yeah, other than that, I've seen again 96%. It's such a, I said R square is 1 and 96% of your date market, I mean, pay line data is dependent on point value, which is really very, very good. Okay. So all of you have seems to be becoming champions of regression. Now you can do train the trainer program also for others. Okay. Good. Very good, Rahul. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's go to Naveen. Hi, Naveen. Now, I don't see this sheet, the sheet which you have, created as a template point plan, right?
Yes, ma'am. I think
that's fine. So I'm going by this only, Naveen. All right. Whatever point you have given here, and then I'm going by the market data. I'm not looking at its accuracy. Okay, right now, more in terms of how you have done it. But if there are certain things which can be added, so looking at the data, you've done a very perfect job because you've also clubbed them into band 1s and band 2s and band 3s based on, you know, the typical jobs which are almost like clustering, what we call it as. And that's something very nice. The slope and the point value multiplied by intercept. Where is your diagram? Can I see it's there? No.
Okay. No, ma'am. Actually, I have not done. Sorry about that.
That's also important. It's good to have that regression diagram, right? Where that it shows the R value.
Yeah.
So if I see the R square value also, it becomes, I mean, I'm hoping that because you've done everything correctly, I'm sure it is. Yes. So, but then good job because I can see that you've done point values, market data, which is also called benchmark data. And then you did a regression, calculated slope value, intercept value, IN, intercept value for your reading later on, intercept value, then pay line salary, and then calculated salary at every level, and then you have clubbed them into 3 bands, band 1, band 2, band 3. Good job done, Naveen. Right, absolutely. And some of you who have not submitted, I hope, because you all did on that day, and I'm sure all of you then understood the way to go about. This will be a great learning, guys. Okay.
This is one more from Dipesh.
Beg your pardon?
This is from Dipesh.
Yeah, we can see. Should you want me to pull down?
I have done it. I put it on the screen.
Yeah, but one second.
It's on the screen.
Okay, yeah, but little
Bigger?
because it's showing very can't see it at all.
Okay, I'll do it a bit.
1 second. I'll bring down 1 second. I will bring this down. I'll stop sharing mine. Otherwise, what happens? No, you won't be able to. Yeah.
Got it?
1 second. Sorry. Right. Yep. Yeah, I'm able to see a little. Great. Okay. This is Deepesh, is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
wonderful. He has done 9 jobs. Okay. Typically, what happens is, Deepesh, sometimes since you tend to hire only one CEO, okay?
Yes.
Typically, sometimes the CEO and CXO job, sometimes we do not put them into the point plan system because we tend to hire the best from the market. So they go by the one-to-one benchmarking of the market. Okay, is Deepesh there? Deepesh?
Okay, ma'am.
See, what we typically do is you want the best person for the CEO, right? So
Yes,
you will look at, you will not put them under the point plan method, but you will actually look at one-to-one benchmarking. All right?
Okay, ma'am.
Market benchmarking. And then you
Yes,
will say, hey, I want the best, and in comparison to what the bench market is offering, then you will offer the salary to your CEO depending on whether you want to hire him or not. The same goes with sometimes the COO. Okay,
Yes,
just for your information. But nevertheless, now I'm only looking at yes, you have done the point values, you've done the market data, you've done the pay line, and then R square is 90. What is this? 90? Great. 95 or 94 it is. I'm not able to read little. Yeah. And thus you have calculated slope value, the intercept value, point value multiplied by slope plus intercept. Great. You've done a very good job, Deepesh. Okay.
Thank you,
Very
ma'am.
good job. Wonderful. I'm so glad that all of you who have submitted these assignments, all of you have really done it very well. Okay. That really is a good, I mean, that shows a lot of commitment from your sides. You guys have done a very good job. I just do this. Okay. Okay, great. So before we Rituparna says something, let me just see his notification. I have a network problem. Okay, no problem. Okay. So before we actually discuss about what we're going to do today, I would actually like to know if any of you have any doubts. So a quick recap of what we did. Okay, a quick recap of what we did in these 3 sessions. Yeah. If you have no challenges, I would love all of you to be on the video. If you don't have challenges, like Rituparn has some challenges, or Anirban, I think, is having some challenges, but the rest of them, if you have no challenges, please switch on your videos, because it will be really very motivating and it will give me some energy. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Jaideep. Okay. So just a quick recap of what we did in all these 3 sessions. See, when we started off, we talked about that compensation is impacted or affected when you're designing pay structure. You cannot design a pay structure just by looking at internal data, because you also have to look at your external factors, right? We discussed all the external factors, which were like government regulations, which we looked at collective bargaining, we looked at socio-economic trends, we looked at globalization and technology. All these factors impact compensation, the way you compensate, the demand and supply of talent, right? The economy, that is the inflation, the cost of living index. So all these impact compensation. Because if you were to give an increment and you are at 30 lakhs, all right, and the inflation has gone up by say 5% and 6%. So the next year you are giving an increment and you're getting about 33 lakhs or 35 lakhs, but you have not factored in the inflation. Then what happens? You are not maintaining the same standard of living the employee was getting, in the previous year with that amount of money which he or she was getting. So how these things are very, very important when you are designing pay structures. Then after that, what we talked, and especially we talked about the government regulations, how we need to do the back calculations if you want the net salary, or if you want the employee to carry home, a higher pay check. Then how you need to structure your salary back so that you are taking the advantage of all those elements or components which give you tax exemption, right? And then you also, when you're designing pay structures, I said you also look into what we call it as apprenticeship. What is the government giving you? Because the government actually gives you subsidy. So when you're taking interns, you can get, salary from the government for almost a year, free. And then you can take those people for 5 or 10% of those people who are top performers in your organization. So you have to be really well versed, aware, and have a good understanding of all these compliances, regulations, etc. Thereafter, we talked about how in organizations, typically, when we are looking at pay structures, there are 3 equities we need to look at. What are they? Internal equity, external equity, and individual equity. And in detail, we covered internal equity and individual equity. Why? Because what we say is, as per this equity theory, that an employee is motivated only when his input is equal to output. You remember? I talked about input and output. All of you remember, I hope. And just to check back, what are the inputs? When I say inputs? Anybody? So inputs are all about your education, your experience, right? Your competences, your time, everything you give to the organization. And what is output? Everything about reward and recognition, starting from salaries, good training, good promotions, everything, including whatever the organization is giving the R&R. So in my mind, like Jaideep will feel, hey, this is what I'm giving to the organization. So the organization is giving me certain thing, both in monetary form and also in non-monetary form. Is there an equal sign? Does it equal? So when it is not equal, what happens, Jaideep? When you get R&R lesser than what you are giving to the organization, what will happen to you?
Then it will be demotivated to me.
Huh? You will be demotivated. And if you are a head of an organization, you will demotivate even the team as well. So you will be demotivated, right? So, and then I talked about, so how we compare ourselves, this equation of output versus input, to either internally or externally or between 2 individuals. So when we are doing that, what are we doing? First of all, internally, we are always comparing ourselves with people within the organization. How are they being paid? So organization, first thing, is it equitable? Are we paying equitably? A senior manager HR, and a CFO or a finance manager, there is a pay differential. Why are we having a pay differential? Is the pay differential actually, very, very logical, objective? Can I explain it? Why that pay differential is there? So there has to be fairness in the way we are paying to the jobs, in the way we are paying to all the jobs in the organization. So to ensure that there is fairness, what technology do we use? We have to establish the worth of the job. And how do we do that? Through job evaluation.
Job evaluation.
And how did we do job evaluation? We can do it in many ways. Paired comparison, that is a ranking method. Then we said job grading we can do. We can also do point method, which is quantitative method. So we discussed all these job evaluation techniques to establish what? Why do we do job evaluation? It could be any method to establish what?
Establish criticality of job. To get the worth
Right
of the
word to
job.
use is job worth or job value. And why do you need to establish the worth? Because we want to decide on what is the base salary to be paid. What is the fixed amount I need to pay for this job? Got it? That fixed amount, to decide on a fixed amount, the base salary, you do all this. Now, how do you do that? You actually then go to what we call it as, you are going to benchmark it with market data, right? Now, when we looked at external market, what is external market? I'm comparing myself with the market. So we said, how do you compare yourself with the market? Looking at peer companies, etc. And then it's very important to look at job descriptions, because unless and until the job descriptions have a total, matching at least 80 to 85%, you cannot take that data, because obviously, only 30% of it is matching and 70% is not matching. And if you are taking that kind of a data, then it is not relevant data, or it does not give you the right kind of a data. Having said that, then we said we collate data. What kind of data will we collate? Everything we showed in the components. We'll collate data on base salary, variable pays, deferred pays, perks, benefits, etc., everything. And then when we collate data, we're going to what? Analyze and interpret it. When you're going to do interpretation, how do we interpret data? We use what we call it as percentiles, quartiles, deciles, right? When we get data, and I showed you how when we have to look at 10 companies, say for example, a software, I have to recruit software engineers. At what salary? 90th percentile. So I showed you how you look at data, convert that into percentiles. So you know how data can be converted into percentiles. Yes or no? Yes? Percentile rank. All of you, I hope you know that. Percentile rank and percentile. Anirban?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not giving me that comfort that you know how to do percentile and percent.
No, ascending, ascending on descending order, getting the midpoint.
No,
Yes,
not
yes,
midpoint. If you recall, I showed you on an Excel array data, then go to percentile rank and then do the percentile, right?
Yeah, for the software company. Yes.
Yeah. So that is called percentile ranks. So what happened? So we have looked at internal and we have looked at external equity. Now, today what we are going to look at is we will be looking at the individual equity and also total reward planning. That means how do you plan? Okay, so when we talk about individual equity, it's all about what? Variable pay plan. That means when two people are doing the same job as per the job description, but if somebody does over and above, how do you then reward them? How do you then reward them? Okay, so this is all about variable pay plan. Let me just use a blackboard so that it gives you greater understanding, right? Now I'm wanting to give you some logic on this. For example, and I want active participation and I want people to actually, even if you are not on the video, please respond. Say for example, I have recruited people, okay, the best people. Now, if I want my people and I give them what, salary, fixed salary. But if I want my people to stretch, if I want my people to perform over and above, okay, then, and if I'm not giving anything, will my people continue to do that? No, right?
No.
They will not be able to, they will not continue to do that. Secondly, there is an average performer who will only do 100 units. Now, Anirban is a top performer who can do 200 units in the same job. Say maybe he's a top recruiter or a top sales guy. For 1 month, he will say, I will do it. The second month, he will say, I will do it. But the third month, he'll say, why should I? Why should I work very hard? Because even if I'm going to work very hard and do 200 units or 300 units, stretch myself, but the salary I'm getting is equal to the same salary which the average performer is getting. That is my fixed salary. So you are also demotivating him by not letting him perform. Getting it? Right? So therefore, if you have noticed organizations, earlier times, if you notice, variable pay was not into existence. But because today we are saying, hey, pay for performance. That means if you have this pay for performance, you are then trying to create what? If there are, those people fire in the belly who want to perform, those top performers, they will stretch and make more money, right? If you want to make more money, you will say, hey, you can perform and get more money, right? If you don't want, okay, fine. Then you will just get that fixed amount guaranteed salary. Okay. So when you are talking about individual equity, we are talking about what? Variable pay. When I say variable pay, that means it varies. This month you can get X amount. Next month you can get X plus 1 amount. Next month, depending on your performance, you can get X plus 3 amount. What does it mean? That means you are not going to get a guaranteed amount. It will vary depending on your performance. Okay. So in variable pay, there are two kinds. What is it? One is for performance, and the other is for hardship. Okay. When we talk about performance, I'm sure all of you very, clearly in your organization, if you have seen operation people, sales people, so you have what? All these functions which are production oriented, operations, sales, they have these incentive plans, right? They have individual incentive plans where, so when you talk about an incentive plan, what will it have? It will have predetermined what?
Target.
KRS target.
Yeah, you're absolutely there. Predetermined targets. Now, these targets could be, for example, in terms of productivity, right? What else? Quick.
Sales volume.
Sales
It
target.
could be in terms of,
Revenue generation.
huh?
Revenue generation related target.
Absolutely. Can I say productive? Okay, I'll put revenue there. Revenue. Okay. For people on the production floor, it could be piece, no? How many pieces you will make? No?
Quality. Yeah.
Then it will be not that you make 500 units and then quality is only 20% or 30%, right? Also time. Within certain time frame also, no?
Correct.
Time also will be there, right? Okay. So depending on the nature of the role, you will have predetermined targets. For example, a sales guy. What will he have? What kind of targets will he have? Say anybody, any sales guy, say in a pharma. So what kind of targets will he have? Typically, he has to sell, say 100 units, 200 units, right?
Yeah.
Number of, goods he has to sell. So every incentive plan will have a predetermined targets. Now, so what does it mean? Now, when we talk about predetermined targets, sorry, There will be something called a min and a max. What is this called? A range. It will have a
Range.
range, right? If you achieve more than 100, you will get some amount. If you achieve 150, you will get some amount. If you achieve 200, you will get it. So there is a range. So that range can vary. This 1 month you will get some amount, another month you can get some. Now, why is it the most, what is it, in organizations, why is this variable pay plan very, very popular? Is because it's got a win-win approach, right? How you increase the sales and you reap the benefits, right? You get some incentive. You don't do it, you don't get it. So then I only have to pay you the guaranteed salary. Okay. So now performance can be at an can it be at an individual level?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay. Now, can it also be at a unit level?
Team level.
Yeah, unit, region level,
Team level.
Team,
regional.
location,
Regional level. Yeah, location. Yeah.
and I will say organization.
Even the product level. If one company is having different product scope.
Yeah. And I'll just put that organization. Okay. Right? Okay.
Yes.
So in all this, the objective is to increase what? Level of productivity. Got it? Okay. That is the key objective. Now, at a unit or a team level or a location level, it is also called gain sharing, correct? What is it? Sharing of gains. Simple. Sharing of gains. Okay. Now, why do you have gain sharing? So that people can what did I write?
Collaborate.
Collaborate. Do you think you need people to collaborate when you want to work as a team or a unit or a location, right? So what happens typically, if you notice in most of the organization or production floors, they will have gain sharing so that people will collaborate and achieve or increase the production. And then whatever is benchmark cut off, then over and above, it is shared. Now,
Ma'am,
at an organizational level, somebody said
Ma'am,
something. Anirban?
Yeah. Yeah, I have one small question.
Please do.
Doubt.
Please do.
Most of the organizations, they have the variable pay plan,
Yeah.
which is, somewhat depending on after a certain band or cadre. Let's say for an example.
Little
manager-
louder, Virendra, you said most of the organizations are pay plans, and
No,
then I
so-
couldn't hear much. Yeah.
Yeah. So most of the organizations, typically they would have a variable pay plan,
Mhm.
which will be slightly different than the incentive plans, or probably pay for performance plan. Typically for revenue generation teams.
Right.
Say, for an example, variable pay, typically it is applicable for manager and above.
Right.
Say 80% of the salary will be fixed, and 20% depending on the cadre or a band, 20 to 30, 40%, higher the level you go, more
Right.
of the portion of your salary will be variable pay,
Right.
and against which you will be given certain KRA KPIs at the start of the year, and then it will be evaluated towards the end, and then accordingly, as per your variable pay policy, the payouts will happen.
Absolutely.
Here, the question is the performance plan or in pay for performance or typically incentive plans. This is something over and above the CTC in most of the organizations. So typically
Absolutely.
for sales folks,
Absolutely.
either they will not be included under variable pay plans, but they will be included under incentive plan.
Absolutely. So, absolutely, you are right. So, for example, functions like sales, okay, production level people, where they are to increase the sales, they will have incentive plans. That incentive plan could be maybe at an individual level, also if at a unit level also, or a team level you can have. Now over and above that, all the other functions as you mentioned, even at a manager, senior manager, etc., they would be having something like what you rightly stated, even when in your contract letter, that if you are getting 25 lakhs as your CTC, okay, 5% or 10% of your salary is a variable too, right?
Correct.
Okay, it could be 10%. As you go up higher, it could be 20, 30, 40. Why do you have those? Because, like for example, HR also has variable pay. Now, there the performance elasticity, that means for a support function, there is not much of a scope to perform like a sales guy. So therefore, the variable pay is only 10%, or maybe just about 5 to 10 or 15%. Now, why do you keep that 10 or 15%? Because A, you want to show a line of what sight, in the sense that what you do is also connected with the business objective, right? Otherwise, you will say, hey, I'm doing my own thing. Because a lot of times in organizations, you will see that I have nothing to do with the organization's goals. Why should I have this variable pay plan, variable pay of 10% or 15%? This is away from, I'm not talking about incentive plan as such. That is for typically people, whether it's in a call center, production center, etc., they will have incentive plans. But if you notice in the other support functions or in the corporate, you will have some amount of variable pay, right? 10%, 15%. But at the end of the year, or even in every 3 months or 6 months, depending on the payout, you are not going to get 100%. You'll only get about 90% or so. And you feel so bad. Why am I not getting? It's my salary. Yeah. Why am I not getting? It's only in India that the variable pay is they show it as, a part of your TCC. But abroad, out of India, it's always over and above. So here, just to make it, okay, fine, 20, like if you have to sell a job, you will say 20 lakhs plus 5 lakhs is a variable pay. 25 lakhs you're going to get, but you may only be getting, 22 lakhs, because 5 lakhs you're not going to get 100% of that, right? So yes, in most of the organizations, or for rather in all the organizations, you will have for your managerial team, irrespective of functions, this percentage of variable pay depending on the level he is operating, whether it is, that is called participation. So it could be 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%. Top management could have even 50% as a variable pay. Okay. Correct. Why? Because they have the circle of influence and control is much higher there. So therefore their variable pay, because you see, these guys, when they get variable amounts, they get huge amounts, because they are actually responsible for ensuring achieving those business results, right? So those variable pays are linked to those business results. You agree?
Correct.
Is it clear, Virendra?
Yes, absolutely. So my second question is on incentive plan. So whenever we make incentive plan, why is it so, most of the times, I mean, of course, for all the obvious reason, the department or functions, those who are revenue generators only gets the credit, to get included in incentive plan. And what about the other department, like, support functions? It could be finance, HR, taxation, operations. Most of the times they get neglected, and then what happens, it creates a ruckus, as and when typically, it's a tendency of human nature. So whenever the incentive payout happens, one hand we would have fully satisfied, motivated and engaged team, in the organization. On the other hand, they say, yeah, these sales guys, they sold certain units to customers with under ABC scheme, blah blah blah, what it may be. But at the end of the day, we were the one who actually worked on the product. We prepared it, dispatched it. Our efforts doesn't get count. So how do we tackle this situation?
So Virendra, it's like this. Okay, in organizations, the fundamental principle behind the incentive plan is whether the job or the role has a scope for performance. What I've used even some in the right in the beginning, my first lecture, performance elasticity. Okay. Now I'll just explain what is performance elasticity very clearly. There's a grocery store or a retail store. Okay. Grocery store. Now in this grocery store, you have a sales guy. I'll put as grocery. You have a sales guy. An average performer, what is his job, sales guy in a grocery store? He has to influence people to buy certain groceries, etc. Right? So this is the average guy who can make this much. A top performer who will also be a top guy who can influence, who has good selling skills, at best can make only 120 units. What does it mean? In a grocery shop, even if you hire the best guy, the job does not allow you to make so much, because who comes there in a grocery? At best, you can buy your groceries or vegetables or fruits. At best, what? Now think of a guy who's in a insurance business, selling policies. An average guy, say for example, is selling 100 units. A top performer can actually sell 500 with this super skills. Okay, I'll put it here so that, yeah. If he has great skills in selling, so what he can do, he can actually sell 500. Do you know insurance agents who get more commission than even the regional managers? Do you know that? I hope you know that. The sales guys in the insurance business, they make much more money than even the regional managers of insurance. What does it go to say? That means the business has the scope, and if you are a great guy at selling, you can really sell a lot. Now let me bring another close example. In your HR, think of two roles: recruiter, okay, and a payroll guy. What does a recruiter do? What does a recruiter
Hire
do?
employees.
Hire
Hire employees.
So what is this KRA? That means he has to ensure that if there's a requisition for 20 positions, depending on whatever is, 30 positions within a lead time of 2 months, quality people with the criteria, he'll be given. And then he also will be given that, what is it? There's a variable pay, like every 5 you recruit, within the budget given and all that will be. Now, average recruiter, he will use some amount of innovation, etc., and close. And then when he closes, and after that, maybe some will it right, some will not perform, etc. A very good recruiter who is very creative and has that, go in him, great extrovert. That's why you need, for a recruiter, you need a great selling skills, etc. So he is a guy who will actually get the best of people at the least cost, etc. So there is scope. What is the nature of a payroll guy? He works on a software. At best, he can be very good in that software. He gets inputs from all the departments, from the HRBP people, and he will do efficiently. So the scope for more performance elasticity is in recruiter's role or payroll? Tell me.
Recruiter.
Recruiter role. So will it be justified that if I put more variable pay for a payroll guy will say that there is no scope for the job. The job is limited. So if you put high variable pay, that will only reduce my salary, right?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So are you understanding, when we are actually designing incentive, that is why salespeople, etc., as you rightly stated, Virendra, that because there is scope for selling, because they have to sell, so you have high variable pay. If you notice, their base salary will be less. But in other functions, say in product development, also you can have a variable pay. How? One is milestones. 2, within the time frame given. That is for those people who are in R&D, product development. But for support people, what are they supposed to do best? For example, an IT guy who's the IT person. I'm not talking about the development guy, but the IT service guy in an organization who's doing a support function of what, ensuring that the system is up, the system time is not much, troubleshooting is taken care of. To some extent, you can put some incentive saying that, if 100% they are ready, you can take certain things and put them. You agree? For an HR department, so you need to really think how there's not much of a scope for an HRBP. So that is why you will see that in the support functions, the variable pay, because there is no scope, is limited to say about 10% or 15%. Have you noticed? Right? Virendra, are you with me now?
Yeah, good.
Huh?
Yeah,
Are you
good.
with me? Okay.
Yes.
At an organizational level, you know that what are we calling it as variable pay? What is it?
Profit sharing.
Profit sharing. Is there a difference between profit sharing and gain sharing? Let me ask the smartest person. Not that others are not. Yeah. Quick, anybody? Yes. I mean, do you have some kind of a feel for it? I will, huh? Or at least attempt. It can be wrong, right? It's okay. Huh? Anybody? Anirban, Rahul, Naveen, Jaideep, anybody? What is the difference between profit sharing and gain sharing? My God, are you guys are there or not?
Is it profit is something that whatever it's
Yeah,
it,
you're
the gain
almost
sharing
closer. I can
Gain
understand this.
depend on individual
So-
performances.
gain sharing, it is something, can we relate it with some sort of reward, or probably rewarding
So
employees?
very, very simple. Gain sharing is more operational. You can get it
Okay.
month on month. Okay. It is at an
Mhm.
operational, just increasing production. It doesn't go up to profits. Because if you have to make a profit and loss, you have to wait for the annual year, right?
And one more
Correct,
thing, ma'am.
correct.
One more difference.
Uh,
Gain sharing can be controlled based on the targets we can give.
Huh.
But profit is a much more in a larger prospect.
Absolutely. Now, gain sharing, what happens? This is the target over and above. If you achieve, you will get your gains. Now, in profit sharing, what happens at the end of the year? You have made certain amount of profits. So this year, windfall, you made huge profits. So you will say 10%, 15% of this, please, share it across the all levels of organization at a certain percentage, okay, of their base. Next year you have not made any profits, you will say no profit sharing. Okay, so it keeps varying, and you cannot predict that I'm going to get this much this year, I'm going to get next year this much. No. But whereas gain sharing, you can at least predict, because if you increase more, you know how much you will get. You getting me?
So is profit sharing only an annual basis, ma'am?
Profit, no profit. When you just tell me, when will you do in your accounts profits in the end of the year? No,
Year, correct.
profit and loss
Yes.
statements. When do you
Yes.
do? So at the end of the year, when you close everything and say, hey, I made so much of profit. Okay, let me give 5% of this to my employees. If you feel that no, I have not made any profits, bumper profits, you'll get more. No profits, zero profit sharing. No,
Correct.
okay.
So in other words, gain sharing can also be termed as incentive and profit sharing as variable pay.
So I'm just not saying it can be called as group incentive plan. Got it?
Okay.
Group
One thing-
incentive plan. Why? You want all of them to collaborate.
Hmm.
Group incentive plan. Now, other than this, you also
Madam,
have certain
one thing-
incentives. Yeah.
Madam, one thing that is Jaideep here. Gain sharing is provided a monthly basis and profit sharing is on annual basis. Is it so?
Profit sharing is at the end of the year, depending on your
Annual basis.
expenditures, profit and loss statement, how annual, how much books of accounts, how much profit you made at the end of the year. And then if you have made some profits, then you will give some, you will share the profits as a goodwill. So you will get certain
Right.
bonus. Okay. All right. Okay. So other than that, you also have something called, project allowance. This is also a variable pay. Why is it given? You either get it or not get it, because if there is a project which has to be completed within a time frame, within that quality, etc., and you have done it, well and good. But if you have exceeded even by a day or two, you are not going to get even 1 penny out of it. You either get it 100% or you don't get it. Okay. Joining bonus. You either get it, or if you join, you will get it. If you don't join, you won't get it. It's not something like, okay, I will get 50% of it. All right. Overtime, it's a variable pay. So these are all examples of the performance. All right. Let me just clear. Now, then when we talk about hardship, I quickly will run through. So hardship is something which we talked about last time. If you recall, that say if there are 10 cashiers and one cashier is actually 10 cashiers are doing all the work in payroll department, but one cashier, he is actually going to a remote site, getting cash, disbursing, coming back. Okay. Should he be given something over and above
Yes,
his
ma'am.
job description? Yes
Yeah.
or no?
Yes.
He has to be given because he's having some hardship, no?
It's stretching his job.
Huh?
It's stretching his job.
Yeah, stretching his job is not a part of his job description. So he
Yeah.
gets some kind of a hardship allowance. Now, the moment after 3 months, I will shift it to another cashier. He will only be sitting inside. Then will he still continue to get? No.
No,
So
the other one
as
will
long
get.
as you are doing it, you will get it. Like, for example, some examples of hardship. Quickly, can you all give me some examples?
Peak allowance. Peak allowances.
Pardon?
Peak allowances. Working in a under a heat zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Or night shift allowance?
Night allowances. Yeah, night allowances. Then height allowances for train operators.
Absolutely. Height, yeah. Then crane allowance, because it's a difficult
Yeah. For train or someone working in a hill area.
or hill allowance, very common. Then rig allowance.
Yeah.
Then high altitude allowance, right? So all this teller allowance. So think about those allowances which are being given as hardship allowances in your organization. Okay. Now, when we come to some of the other things, now when we talk about variable pay, this also can be for, one is for, I told you, performance and hardship. Now the other is for merit. When I say, I'm sorry. Erase. What is merit? When I talked about merit incentive. When
Special
you
skill.
are actually recruiting somebody, and he has some additional skill sets, you give something. So merit incentive can be two kinds. Cross skill, have you heard of it? And upskill. Have you heard of cross skill and upskill? Anybody? Now, what is cross skill? Say, for example, in Volkswagen, what do? I recruit a fitter. He'll fit things, okay? And I write in his contract letter that if you get certified in a welding job, then you will get a welding incentive allowance, okay? Now, what this guy has to do, he has to go out, learn this welding. Then after he has learned it, then he will go to the training academy of the Volkswagen, where he will go through an evaluation process and he'll be certified. He will get a certificate from Volkswagen, and that certificate he has to go and show to the payroll guy along with the contract letter, and he will get an incentive. So now what is he getting? He's doing a fitter job, but he's also getting an additional incentive allowance for welding. How does it help the organization? Well,
talent pool, maintaining a talent
absenteeism,
pool.
turnover, also seasonality, also say, for example, in the market, the welders are not available. Okay, they are short in supply, high in demand. Then what will happen? I don't have to buy them at high wages, because I'm already skilling my own people. So what will I do when I get my guy who's certified into welder? I'll shift him into welder. I'll take more people of fitter, keep shifting them into welders. Are you getting me? So have you understood cross skilling, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. What is upskilling? It's a part of a career growth map. For example, in Citibank, I recruit BCom guys as what accountants. And I show them that the top performers have a career growth. In 5 years, they can become treasurers, treasury guys, treasury manager. Okay. And I tell them that, in those 5 years, at every milestone, what kind of a certification and what degree they have to get. Then what will happen? Every time they get that degree or a certification, I give them an incentive. So what happens? I'm growing my own talent in my backyard. Okay. Ensuring what? Retention. I'm not letting my top performers go. I'm showing them the growth map, and I'm also incentivizing, and then they're very, very happy because I don't have to go and buy from the market when a treasury role is there for a high salary, because I actually grow people from within the organization. So this is called upskilling, and most of the organizations do that. Are you having any examples? Anybody who does upskilling and cross-skilling in your organization? But have you understood what is upskill and cross-skill, guys? Give me a thumbs up at least.
Yes.
Huh? I can see Anirban has given me a thumbs up. Virendra, Deepesh model. Huh? Naveen, Jaideep. Okay, I can see some of. Jaideep, are you there? Not there? I know it's afternoon, siesta
ma'am.
time. Huh? Is it clear? Upskill and cross-skill, Jaideep? Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now there is one more very interesting variable pay, what we call it as hot skill. Have you heard of hot skill? Or it's also called Anybody who can explain what is a hot skill and what is an MLRA?
A skill which is not available in the market. I mean, a very rare skill kind of a thing, skill set.
There is a difference. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, there is, for an example, that we have actually won this, what is it, World Olympics. We have to, next year, we have to do what? Construct many stadiums. So what happens? The cement industry is becoming very busy. So they want a lot of people who can actually do the production, etc. There are some key skill sets, because everybody thinks, oh, we can make money and everybody will start getting into this business. Then what happens? There is a shortage of what? Of those, there's a high demand for those skill sets, and the supply is becoming shortage because everybody is getting into that business because they see that in the market, that's a good proposition for making money. You agree?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Then what happens? It may not be a very critical skill, but because there are many people getting into the business, that has a high demand. Okay. Now what will I do to ensure that I actually retain my skill, my people, because otherwise they'll poach them. So I will give them hot skill allowance or a bonus for the next 1 year or 2 years so that they don't leave me and go. Now, I don't want to factor that into my base salary or fixed salary. Why? If I put it in my fixed salary, then once the stadiums are over, then again people are, then over. So now there will be again no shortage of that supply of skill set. There will be huge, there will be supply. Okay, then what will I do? Then it becomes a burden for me. I have to carry that wage cost. But if I actually put it as a hot skill till the time, so what does it mean? Spike. If you see that there is a sudden spike, sudden demand for those skill sets which you are using, because a lot of other businesses are using those skill sets, then you have to acknowledge, recognize, and then say, hey, this is now a hot skill, so I need to give a bonus for it. Otherwise, you lose your people. Why? Because obviously they'll get more money outside. Is this concept very clear? Hot skill or market linked retention incentive. Now, most of the IT companies, what do? Every year, they actually, through their market intelligence or competitive intelligence report, then they will get an understanding of what are those skills or technologies which are very hot, okay, which are spiking up, all right? When will it spike? Because there are many more startups which are coming into existence, requiring those skill sets. And typically startups need people, plug and play people. So where will they draw their talent from? They will draw their talent from organizations, existing organizations, by giving them 2 times the salary or 3 times the salary, right? I recall the time when, I was working in Apollo Health Street and we were doing a medical coding, which was very, very profitable. And a lot of startups had come because there was huge profit margin. And where would they look at? They would actually look at, these established organizations who have already, medical coding supply of skill set. And they'll say, hey, we'll give you 2 times more, 3 times more. Come and join us. Okay. How to deal with that is another story. But what I'm trying to tell you is when there is a sudden spike in the market for a particular skill sets or for more skill sets, you then put them as hot skills and give them a bonus in your organization. Very clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, thumbs up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, just wanted to check language support, French language, those fall under which category of skills?
Yeah. Now you said it right. They do not come under hot skill. They come under what we call it as cross skill. Now, for example, if I go to Dubai, in the retail malls, you will have incentives for learning more languages. Tell me why? Because if the salesperson will talk in your native language, don't you think you can connect with the customer easily? Huh?
Yes.
So what happens? They will say, hey, so in order to promote that the salesperson learns more languages, why should I learn? What is in it for me? So I should give an incentive. Got it? Go to Singapore and at the immigration counter, they will ask you, they will know by which country you have come, and they'll typically speak in a Tamil or a Telugu. They will typically speak. Why? They promote more languages. This is, if you learn more languages, you'll have more incentives. So they have actually linked an incentive with the language. Okay. You have asked this question because I'm sure you have somewhere come across this incentive. Where did you come across?
No, just like that. I was just checking.
No, absolutely, you're right. That's why, in fact, I was about to. So this is an incentive which is given, not just because you will increase the sales, you will connect the person. So in fact, there are certain incentives being given even for air hostesses, when you can actually greet and do everything in their in that kind of a culture, right? For every customer, if it's an Indian, you greet them with the namaste or something else. So because what happens is you then get closer. You are increasing what customer friendliness. So that's how incentives are actually planned, whether they can bring in more sales, etc. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. Okay. Clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, having understood this, now let us get a hands-on 335. Okay. I think I will explain what you need to do, and then if you want, you can take a bio break. Okay, and then we can do this group task where I will help you. What are some of the steps? We will go through some of the steps to design an incentive plan. Okay. Okay, let me just go back to this one, and then that's a better thing. Okay, what are some of the considerations we should be doing to design an incentive plan? First and the foremost, when you design an incentive plan, clear. Okay. We're looking at what are the design considerations. How do we design an incentive plan? I want to ask you, all of you, because all of you are in the manufacturing. So what do you do first of all when you are designing an incentive plan? Virendra.
We should
Typically-
define a target. The overall
Typically,
business target.
we define the scope,
Okay,
applicability.
I will first write what all you say. Okay. So you'll say target, huh?
Business targets.
Okay. Business target, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. In general, we are not, huh? Then what else?
Scope, applicability,
Scope. Okay.
Yeah. scope of the
Then
policy, applicability.
applicability.
Yes. Inclusion,
Okay.
exclusion,
Pardon?
inclusion, exclusion.
Okay. Okay. Inclusion. Exclusion. All right. Anybody else? Yeah. Okay. Without further ado. Typically, when we look at,
One thing is omitted, that is a budget.
what is it? Yeah.
Budget.
Anirban, tell me.
You are saying budget.
Budget.
Yeah.
Or can I say funding?
Yeah, funding.
From where will you get that money? Okay. Funding. Okay. All right. Okay. So taking into consideration, the first step, I feel that anything you do, I need to have an intent. Do you think so? Or what I call it as purpose. Why am I having this incentive plan? You agree? Huh? Is it to
Yeah.
increase revenue? No? Is it to increase productivity? Is it to increase my sales? Is it to increase my product mix? Or customer? So I need to understand the purpose. So all these are from what? From the functional point of view. Will you agree with me? From the functional point of view, all these are some of the purposes or intent. I also say when we talk about intent, we also need to look at what I call it as MAR point of view. What is MAR? Let me see. MAR do unko ek MAR. What is MAR? Huh? Tell me. Huh?
Requirements.
Yeah. Do you think so? Right? I also need to look at from the, what I actually call it as, from the HR, no? Intent. Is it to motivate? Is it to attract? Is it to retain? What exactly I need to do? So intent is very important, right? The first of all, the intent for which I'm doing, that is very, very important. Then second, as somebody said, the target and all will come in the intent. Will it come? Business target, etc. Can I say this business target, everything can come under intent?
Yes, ma'am.
Scope. So the second point I will write is, who should be included? Scope. No? Who are the people? Eligibility. Who are the people who should be included in it? Eligibility for that incentive plan. Scope of the project. Okay. And in that scope, I also need to know, will probationers, or from when will, after the probation, or then people who are on maternity or EOL. EOL is what? that, what we call it as, extraordinary leave or loss, loss of pay. You take 2 months, 3 months,
Disciplinary
etc.
action.
That kind of a thing. So all those things, scope of the project, eligibility, who are the people, etc., etc. Applicability also can become in that. So you can say in scope, you can get all this in scope, then applicability, okay, inclusion, exclusion, etc. Now 3, I will say then, hey, what percentages would you want to have? No? So what I actually call it as, you can call it as applicability or participation. I typically call it as how much? Because variable pay can't be the same for everybody. As I said, salespeople will have 60% of their salary as variable pay. HR person, supportive person will have 10%, 20%, 15%. So participation, that means what percentage? What? Percentage of base salary, base pay will be your variable pay. Then 4th, very important. What is it? Performance. Where do we go wrong? When we don't
Criteria.
establish performance
Measurement
criteria.
criteria.
No? Where we don't establish performance criteria, that's the problem, where everything goes well, but when it comes to performance criteria, it is not very well clearly written down, that even people get actually, hey, you do anything, they don't have trust in the incentive plans. So performance criteria is very, very important. Then what I tell in the 5th is, where do you get your funding? No? Say, for example, gain sharing, profit sharing, all these are self-funded. In the sense, you increase the productivity, you will get the production, and then you can share the gains. But what about incentive plans, like say, for example, attendance, loyalty, certain things which you have actually created as incentive plans. So you have to then offset certain amount. You have to offset certain amount. 6, you may have a great incentive plan, but if you are going to have a lot of people, administration, how are you going to administer this? Administer. So how are you managing it? What will be the cost included? Are you going to use software for it so that there's less cost and efficiency and effectiveness? 7th, very important, is evaluation. Is it important, evaluation? How will you evaluate? With the intent and the purpose. Have you achieved it? So if you have not, then what will you do? You'll say, hey, then let us actually look at it, make some course corrections. You agree? All of you? Okay. So what we were talking about is the designing of an incentive plan. So very interestingly, I want to give you a small exercise so that you have a hands-on learning on how to design an incentive plan. Okay. Now, when you're designing this case study, please make a small note on your piece of paper. You need to, I will also show you an Excel sheet. Okay. You need to do the following. Now, let me explain to you this case. This is a small store, retail store. It's a clothing store. I'm sure all of you know about like a Mark and Spencer, like today you have HV. So it's a clothing store where you have a lot of clothes and also shoes, etc. Both clothing store and a shoe store. Now, this store keeps both branded goods and also non-branded goods. All right. Please make a note. It has branded goods and also non-branded goods. Now, the margins on the non-branded goods are high. The margins, that means the sales margins on the branded goods are low. Okay. Now, if you see that the number of salespeople you have is 20 who report into one sales manager. Now there is also an assistant manager who takes care of the warehouse. That means, inventory. And under him, there is one admin guy and also one office boy. Now, all these three people also report into the sales manager. That admin officer and office boy report to assistant manager, and these three report into the sales manager. Okay. Now, 20 sales people. Now, this closed sales chain, they tend to sell more of the branded goods and less of non-branded, because easy to sell branded. Okay. Now they don't have teamwork. Then there are some great salespeople whom you have to retain them, because during non-seasonal, that is, when there are no festivals, etc., obviously there is no variable pay at that point of time. These good salespeople tend to leave. So there is attrition as well. All right. So now in step 1, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. These are some concerns from the functional perspective and from the HR perspective. Okay. Now you have to design an incentive plan. They are eligible from day 1, it starts. Okay. And salespeople and the admin guy and the office boy are eligible after confirmation. Now, the percentage of base salary is typically 60% of base pay for salespeople and 30% for assistant manager. Admin officer is 15% and office boy is 10%. What you need to do is, Vilma, can you just bring this down? Okay. Now, the group will have to devise an incentive plan on an Excel sheet like this. You have to say step 1 and write the intent or the scope as you wrote, or the purpose, as I said, the functional and also the HR. Okay, in an Excel like this. Then you write step 2, who are the people eligible and what percentage of their base salary. It's already given, so you can write it. Okay, who are the people eligible? Obviously, sales people have higher variable pay, support people will have less variable pay. So who are the people who will be eligible? You write them there. Then I want you to write, okay, as I said, as you also said, that you will have predetermined targets, right? So write that if you achieve A plus B plus C, so you have to write those A plus B plus C. Then you will get 40%. If you achieve only A1 and B1, you will get 30%. So like that, you have to write what is that, the predetermined targets. You have to write, if you achieve what, you will get level 1, level 2, level 3. So level 1 can be the highest, level 2 a little less, and level 3 a little less. Step 4, you have to write, when will you make the payment? That is, will you make the payment monthly, quarterly, or at the end of the year, and how much? And for motivation, how much? For retention, how much? Okay, or for attraction also, what you want to write. So I told you, from the HR perspective. So you have to create in an Excel only 4 steps. Step 1, step 2, which is eligibility. Step 3, which is actually the measurement criteria, the performance criteria. Step 4, the payment, because there are players. Support people are there, admin guy is there, office boy is there, sales people are there, sales manager. So considering all that, when will you pay, to whom, how, what percentage? You don't have to write absolute amounts, nothing. You can give percentages. All right. So please give me a thumbs up if you have understood. You will do it here only. One of you, just like what we've been doing in the earlier sessions, you will have to take the lead and work on an Excel sheet, just like this, the way I'm showing. Step 1, step 2, you can take a photograph of this if you want to. And I want somebody else, not the same person who did last time, who's also good a little at Excel. So who will take the lead? Let me see. Is it Rahul or Naveen or Anirban or Joydeep or Virendra, Deepesh? Who will take the lead?
I'll take the lead.
Rahul, great. Your connectivity allows you, Rahul?
Yeah, today it's good.
Oh, great, great. So you are taking the lead, so you need to collaborate with all of your participants, okay? And then what are you doing? Designing an incentive plan for a clothing chain, a retail store, all right? And you have all the data given there. Vilma has just sent them to you. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, it's a very simple, all of you must have done at some point of time, been familiar with incentive plans. You can actually take a picture of this if you want to, and I'm going to then stop sharing it so that you can actually then put up your Excel sheet. Okay. So this is it. If somebody is taking a picture of this, see, snapshot, or Vilma will send this snapshot. Okay, done. Okay, guys. So stop sharing. Shall I do it? Stop sharing.
Yeah.
Now you can put up. So Naveen, I think Naveen has. Naveen, you have volunteered, right?
No, Rahul.
Rahul.
Rahul, sorry. Oh, see, so how quickly Naveen is saying, oh, no, not Rahul.
I've done it last 2 times.
Okay, Rahul, get going. And
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have, will 20 minutes do? We will, as of now, 20 minutes, and then we will extend it by 5 minutes. If I say 30 minutes, you will still extend it by 5-10 minutes. So I will say 20 minutes, and then we will extend it. Okay?
Sure, ma'am.
All right. I will stop my video for some time so that I want you all to really discuss and do some work on your own now. You are the leader, Rahul, so talk to people, understand, as I said, what you want to do, intent, purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Shall we start on the step 1? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. I think it should be the sales.
First is intent.
Volume.
Okay.
Intent. Then functional, right?
Functional, correct.
First, we'll note down the steps, then we'll do the grading part.
Step
Step 2, scope of plan, eligibility.
Eligibility.
eligibility, how much?
How much
Step
for intent?
Hmm.
Then how much on functional?
Sales support.
Sales. Let's put a question mark over here that how much on percentage wise, I think, right?
Yes, correct.
And later on step 3, I think, was measurement, right?
Measurement criteria.
Again, it will remain the same. We'll have to give for all the levels, huh?
Yeah,
The
level 1, 2, 3.
So we'll say this is level 1, level 2, and level 3. Okay. That's all.
Fourth step also, I think you have
Payment.
I think 4th was payment.
payment.
So this will be step 4.
Motivation and retention.
MAR.
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 Funding.
Motivation, attract, retention.
Motivation,
Attract,
attract, retention. Okay. This will be also like how much on the percentage wise
Yes.
at the end. Okay, so we'll start with the step 1, the intent part.
Increase volume of sales.
Sorry.
Increase volume of sales.
Okay, you want me to change this?
No, that is okay. That is okay. He's telling about the description of that sales volume.
Okay. The increase in the sales volume.
Sales volume, yeah. So, for example, as Chef said in the WhatsApp, 12 to 15%.
Yeah, I'm really glad you guys are going very systematically. And in fact, I'm following your discussions. I think they are really very coherent and very sequential. Great work, guys. Yeah, carry on.
So in the intent, in the sales, I think it has written the market share from 12 to 15%.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. So shall mention it as 12 to 15.
12 to 15%. Yeah.
12% to 15%. And intent wise,
Increase the sale of non-branded products. Non-branded
increasing
products.
sales of non-branded products. And functional should be quality of handsets.
Quality of
Yeah.
handsets. Quality of handset plus production of handsets also.
And say quality and production of handsets. That's it. So for intent, what will be the percentage? In step 2 for eligible from day 1. So there are two criteria. One is eligible after
Yeah.
confirmation and eligible from day 1, which are the salespeople and the sales manager.
Yeah. From day
So I
one.
think even we'll have to bifurcate, right? From
So can I just intervene?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So for eligibility, for the purpose of clarity, you write here, if this incentive plan is for whom, who are the people who it will include right under that column A where you are writing, right?
Over here.
Yeah, so you can write who are the people who are included, sales manager,
Sales managers.
people,
Salespeople.
warehouse guy, office boy, all these people are included, right? In the incentive plan?
So from day 1, yes, there are 2 categories, and from confirmation, there are 3 categories.
Assuming that these all guys, we will just put a condition.
Okay.
All are eligible.
Assuming
Okay.
that all are
Eligible.
Yeah.
Okay, so put all of them. Okay, so that you will.
So we can say salespeople,
Sales
SM.
manager.
SM, WM, admin officer,
sales
office boy.
manager, assistant manager, warehouse,
Hmm.
and admin officer,
Office
and
boy.
one
The office boy.
office boy.
Boy. Yeah.
So for salespeople, intent percentage should be how much? We'll refer on the screenshot.
The best way is 60%. No?
So ordinarily, salespeople, the performance elasticity means they are involved directly. So they typically the variable pay percentage will be higher because the scope of the job is to sell more, right?
Right.
So therefore, it will typically be higher. So you can have
So 60.
60%.
50%, 60%.
60%.
Here, what I would actually recommend you, rather than putting all of them like horizontally, it will help you if you put them just vertically,
Yeah, what you
Okay.
and change the intent
one below the
function.
other, right?
Transpose.
Okay.
Yeah, change this to horizontally intent functional and sales.
You want me to put it as horizontal?
Yeah.
Okay.
One more gap. Yeah, one more gap to be yeah, fine.
The sales will be 60%.
Yeah.
With I think it's same for manager as well.
No, 60%
No, I
is
think
their base pay, na?
base
60%.
pay. Huh.
Yes. So even we can increase the base pay. We can make it 70. Oh no, sorry, it's already given there 60.
It's already given 16 for sales and sales manager. And
नहीं, 60
assistant
30%.
60% का बेस पे तो 40% होना चाहिए ना एलिजिबिलिटी. एलिजिबिलिटी शुड बी रिमेनिंग ना क्योंकि बेस पे 60 है आउट ऑफ 100.
So 60% अगर mention करेंगे, so then we'll be able to define ना from 100% at the
ठीक
end when we'll say for the payment type.
ठीक है देखते हैं.
So let's see 30%,
30%, 15 and 10.
15%, and this was 10%.
Yeah. Functional.
Function. I think it will remain the same, right?
No, it will not remain same for admin and office boy.
So till AM it will be same.
I think because the actual the target of the incentive is to generate sales, but there is no actual as admin and office boy are support staff. They should be excluded from this functional thing. I think.
Yeah, I think, and they will not have a role on the sales part also.
Yeah.
So this should remain the same constant for both of the things.
Functional including sales. Quality.
Increase market share. What can be the measurement criteria?
Increase market share.
मार्केट शेयर ना इंक्रीजिंग
Profit margin.
नहीं
For
नहीं मार्केट शेयर है ना. इंटेंट क्या अपना ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू इंक्रीज द मार्केट शेयर फ्रॉम 12 to 15%. So sales volume, increasing market share or sales volume can be measurement criteria.
in level 2, I think increase in sales.
Sales volume.
Are this level anyway linked with this designations?
क्वालिटी का भी एक इशू था ना वहाँ पे, क्वालिटी ऑफ
हाँ
हैंडसेट।
क्वालिटी का भी था नहीं, ये
Quality
लेवल
of-
1 ये डेजिग्नेशन से कुछ लिंक है क्या? इस लेवल 1 में ऑफिस बॉय या एडमिन बॉय आएगा, वेयर हाउस दूसरा वाले में आएगा, ऐसा कुछ लिंक हो सकता है क्या?
I think it is not the
I think this intent functional sales भी ऐसे ही आ जाएगा, in which intent will be the increase in market share, और ये part यहाँ पे आ जाएगा, functional में increase in sales volume.
कस्टमर सेंट्रिसिटी।
नहीं आप नीचे इसको फंक्शन, ये सेल्स वॉल्यूम को सेल्स में डालो, आप फंक्शन में कर लो, लेसर रिजेक्शंस कर सकते हो आप, क्वालिटी मतलब क्वालिटी रिजेक्शंस और बेटर क्वालिटी।
या तो फिर increasing footfall भी हो सकता है functional में, increase in footfall. But ये levels क्यों define है? Because
वही
the
मैं बोल रहा लेवल
connection,
1 की
हाँ,
साइड डेजिग्नेशन को हम लिंक कर सकते हैं ना, एडमिन बॉय एंड ऑफिस बॉय लेवल 1 हो गए, वेयर हाउस ऑफिसर
नहीं,
लेवल
so
2 हो गए।
हाँ, अगर if we refer the screenshot ना, measurement criteria में we have to say that level 1 में sales and support, so if that is done, then A plus B, or I mean ऊपर का
Can I
40%.
Can I clarify here?
यस मैम, यस
Yes, ma'am.
So when you're talking about measurement criteria, here when I said level 1, level 2, level 3, think of the organization, your organization. It's nothing but saying that if I have achieved A plus B plus C in your intent, can you just scroll down in step 1, bring step 1? Okay, increase of scales and all that. So what are you trying to do? A plus B plus C, 100% if you have done, you will get this much. If you have done only 60%, you will get this much. If you have done only 50%, you will get this much. So what are we trying to do? Predetermination of targets. Are you with me?
So predetermination of target in the form of
You're determining the measurement criteria by saying that if you have achieved sales, okay, quality, and say for example, so if you are writing those intents in terms of A and B and C, etc., so customer satisfaction will liख दिया वहां पर, okay, and all that. So if you have achieved A plus B plus C, you are going to get 100% or 150% or 200%. If you have achieved only A plus B this much, you are only getting 120%. So you are fixing up that if you have achieved this much, you will get this much variable. If you have achieved high, if you have achieved, then you will get high. If you have achieved medium, you are getting medium. It's like, building up that rating scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here you can just create a level 1, level 2, level 3, where if you want level 1 can be your highest and level 3 can be your lowest, or other way around. You can have higher descending order or ascending order. Are you getting
so
it?
Rahul, yeah, so Rahul, if you see that particular screenshot na, steps में A to I तक दिया हुआ है criteria, and those criteria are divided into function and एक कुछ HR case में है. So right from increase the market share from 12 to 15% to increase in sales value. Then
Yes, A to I में है, correct.
Yeah, control attrition, increasing teamwork.
Teamwork, customer centricity, the manner of interaction with customers.
तो ये A B C D 4 या 5 भी ले सकते हैं हम लोग ना.
So एक हमने लिखा increase.
हाँ, इंक्रीज
ये
ये
तो
लिखा
इसमें है
है,
नहीं,
क्वालिटी लिखा है, तो इसमें और 2-3 ऐड कर दो ना, नीचे कस्टमर सेंट्रिसिटी है,
कंट्रोल एट्रिशन कर दो आप फिर।
Oh yeah.
क्योंकि जैसे फॉर एन एग्जांपल क्राइटेरिया अगर आप देखते हो ना, ई है प्रोडक्शन ऑफ हैंडसेट, सो दैट विल बी एप्लीकेबल टू होम, जैसे सेल्स वाले लोग हैं ना, नहीं कौन सा प्रोडक्शन ऑफ हैंडसेट, सेल्स मैनेजर, सेल्स असिस्टेंट, वेयरहाउस एडमिन, ऑफिस बॉय, क्योंकि ये क्राइटेरिया में ये जो अपना टारगेट ऑडियंस है, दे आर नॉट फिटिंग इन,
फिट नहीं होंगे या प्रोडक्शन में फिट नहीं होगी।
हाँ, तो विल हैव
आप इंक्रीजिंग टीम वर्क कर सकते हो।
हाँ, तो ये भी देखना पड़ेगा।
So we can हम लोग यहाँ ये भी मेंशन कर सकते हैं इंक्रीजिंग फुटफॉल में फंक्शनल पार्ट में rather
Yeah,
than
yeah,
this
थोड़ा सा फास्ट करना पड़ेगा। We are running short of time.
increasing footfall sales 12 to 15%.
हाँ, वो एक है ना
हम्म।
कस्टमर सेंट्रिसिटी है ना, इंक्रीज कस्टमर सेंट्रिसिटी, इट विल बी एप्लीकेबल टू ऑल इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल कस्टमर में आ जाएगा, वेयर हाउस वाले को,
So एक और point
admin वाले को।
customer centricity.
हाँ, और एक आखिरी वाला ले लो ना, द मैनर ऑफ इंटरेक्शन विद कस्टमर्स, अगेन इट वुड बी इंटरनल प्लस एक्सटर्नल कस्टमर्स।
Yes.
okay
हाँ, हो गए A B C D E F।
so अभी level 1 level 2 level 3 में
हाँ, A प्लस B प्लस C, अब ये देखेंगे ना हम लोग।
तो इसको आई थिंक ये निकाल देते हैं
आप उसको फ्रीज कर दो, पहला स्टेप 1 को फ्रीज कर दो तो हमको कंपेयर करने में इजी होगा।
हाँ, यहाँ पे, हाँ इधर इधर स्टेप 2 के ऊपर में फ्रीज करो उसको।
हाँ, एक कॉलम एच से, हाँ नहीं नीचे से 8 नंबर
नहीं,
एक सेकंड
रो नंबर 8A पे फ्रीज करो। हाँ, ऐसा भी चलेगा।
हाँ, तो इंक्रीज इन सेल्स वॉल्यूम आपका आ गया।
यहाँ पे we'll have to define the percentage ना, यहाँ percentage define करना पड़ेगा।
हाँ, तो अगर सारे क्राइटेरिया आ रहे 8A प्लस B C D E F तक, तो 100% देंगे।
so
Put A plus B like 40% something.
A plus B
A प्लस B प्लस C प्लस D प्लस E प्लस F सारे आते हैं तो विल पे 100% देंगे हम लोग इंसेंटिव्स। अभी कौन से क्राइटेरिया, इंक्रीज इन सेल्स वॉल्यूम ऑफ नॉन ब्रांडेड प्रोडक्ट फॉर
इसमें से लेस प्रायोरिटी क्या है सेकंड वाले में?
ब्रांडेड वर्सेस नॉन ब्रांडेड का कुछ दिया नहीं है। कंट्रोल एट्रिशन, A प्लस C प्लस E प्लस F ऐसे करके कुछ 20% कम
हाँ,
कर दो
मतलब
ना।
हाँ, जो कम इम्पोर्टेंट उसको आप हटा दो लेवल 2
हाँ,
में।
वही कर रहा हूँ। एक एट्रिशन को हटा दो।
एट्रिशन हटा दो आप फिर इसको ये फुटफॉल भी हटा सकते हो।
चलो लेके
फुटफॉल नहीं,
देखो।
आप इसको ई
A
हटा दो।
plus D plus ये कर सकते हैं A plus D plus E level 2
You are thinking, putting your thinking caps. Good.
plus E
हम्म।
right and इसको हम लोग कितना 80 रख सकते हैं।
हाँ, 80 रखते हैं, 180 एंड देन विल से
60 कर दो। हाँ, मिनिमम 60 मिलेगा।
But for achieving 6, we are giving 103. Also, we are giving 80.
or else we can make it this as 75 and next is 50।
Yeah.
यहाँ पे अगर E और F होता है, सिर्फ E और F, then we can give it as 50%।
नहीं तो मेन टारगेट जो अपना है that
इन
is,
ईएनएफ नहीं हो एक में। हाँ, तो
हाँ।
सेल हमारा इंटेंट है,
करेक्ट,
सेल का एक
मेन
पार्ट को
इंटेंट।
रखिए, एक तो ईएनएफ में रख दो।
हाँ, मेन इंटेंट जो है तो वो सेल्स है ना अपना।
C प्लस F कर दो या C प्लस E कर दो।
प्लस F बट ये बंदा सेल्स में कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं कर रहा है, फिर भी इसको 75 दे रहे हैं हम।
ए लिया है ना, ए इज लाइक सेल्स।
इट्स बट हाँ, इट्स एन नॉन ब्रांडेड प्रोडक्ट्स ना, जिसमें मार्जिन बहुत कम है
ओके।
and wherein he is selling on the margin अपना
तो
branded products।
सी डाल दो ना लेवल 2 में।
यहाँ पे
अभी
C plus F।
उसका परसेंटेज बढ़ा सकते हैं क्या 75 से? कैन वी मेक इट 80? क्योंकि अभी हाँ, तो इट्स लाइक वन ऑफ द पैरामीटर, एक एक पैरामीटर 20-20 पॉइंट कैरी करेगा। 4 5 6 ना, ठीक है चलो।
What about functional में?
उसमें A to D मेरे ख्याल से फंक्शनल है क्या?
हाँ, A to D functional है।
A to D है, A to E तक
A to
आएगा।
D।
नहीं डी, हाँ डी आपका नहीं, डी आपका तो ये हो जा रहा है ना, HR हो जाएगा।
बट अगर आप शीट में देखोगे तो D is increasing footfall and to be produced आ रहा है। So यहाँ पे we can say that A plus B plus C
100% है।
functional part में।
A plus B plus
यहाँ पे we can mention as A plus C and D, इसमें से E को
हाँ।
निकाल देते हैं,
एक होता है
राइट?
फिर वापस से वही आएगा C।
नहीं क्या?
Guys, so another 5 minutes I'll allow. 4:40, 35, 4, 40 to 45, because we also have to do the payouts. Think and write it. So another 10 minutes will do.
Yes ma'am.
Okay, great.
और level 3
फंक्शनल सी रख दोगे?
C।
ओनली सी, अगर सेल नॉर्मल रखेगा तो 50% मिल जाएगा।
हाँ, मतलब से उसने सेल्स किया था 50%। सेल्स में तो A और C आना चाहिए इसमें तो।
फुटबॉल भी तो आपका सेल्स में आ जाएगा।
लेवल 2 में
वो A plus B plus C नहीं है, A plus B plus D आना चाहिए। D is footfall, C is to be produced।
नहीं, बट यहाँ पे we have
नहीं
mentioned B as
हमारा में
football
सी
ना,
है।
अपने
Okay,
में B है।
ओके ओके ओके, ठीक है समझ गया।
यहाँ पे we can say as, इसमें
हाँ।
अपन A और C ले सकते हैं। इंक्रीज इन सेल्स नहीं, दोनों सेम ही है। आई थिंक B और C ले सकते हैं
ठीक है,
विद
तो
80%।
हम लोग ई और एफ को बहुत कम यूज कर रहे हैं, वो एक ऑब्जेक्शन आ सकता है मैम से।
नहीं ठीक
E
है
और
देखते हैं।
ई एफ को आपने तो ना इसको ऊपर वाले को नीचे कर दो, जो मिनिमम जो सी वाला ऊपर है ना फंक्शनल में जो किए थे उसको अब नीचे कर दो।
इसको
हाँ, इसको हम लोग कुछ ई एफ को मिक्स कर कुछ कर सकते हो, क्योंकि ये ना यूज ही नहीं हुआ।
तो यहाँ पे कर सकते हैं E plus F with 50%।
हाँ सर, लो परफॉर्मेंस जो लोग है सेल नहीं किया बट इंटरेक्शन ज्यादा किया। हाँ सर, ठीक है, ये हो गया पे आउट में।
percentage.
इसमें लेवल 1 करना है क्या?
इसमें percentage क्या था? इसमें मोटिवेशन ये मोस्टली HR टर्म्स में है कि कितना परसेंटेज, आई मीन एवरी मंथ, एवरी क्वार्टर और एवरी ईयर और एवरी 6 months
क्वार्टरली
में
पे
पे
आउट
आउट
करनी
करना।
है ना, क्वार्टरली एट द एंड ऑफ द
Every
फर्स्ट
quarter,
मंथ
yeah.
ऑफ द नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर। क्योंकि इंसेंटिव अगर नॉर्मली क्वार्टरली नहीं मिला तो फिर वो वन एंड द सेम थिंग।
हाँ, आई मीन इट कैन बी परफॉर्मेंस लिंक्ड इंसेंटिव्स करके। So we can say कितना 80% on every quarter basis, क्योंकि 100 तो वैसे भी नहीं जाता है कभी।
किसी किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में होता है ना,
वो
they pay
बहुत
more also।
डिफिकल्ट है, आई मीन ठीक है, वी कैन से 100, बट इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट कि कोई 100%, बिकॉज
हाँ
एट द
तो
एंड इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ द
हम लोग
सीटीसी।
पॉलिसी बना रहे हैं ना, तो पॉलिसी में विल मेक अ प्रोविजन, इट इज अप टू यू भाई।
एंड अट्रैक्शन में वी कैन से एज 80। 80
रिटेंशन
चलेगा
डालो।
क्या
हाँ
एवरी
डाल दो
क्वार्टर?
ना, डालो देखते हैं। रिटेंशन में डाल दो 90%।
रिटेंशन में आई थिंक
80 डालो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा। विल जस्ट सी, जस्ट एक एग्जांपल के।
रिटेंशन में मंथली डालो, इसको एक मंथ किसी को मंथली कर दो।
मंथली 80%।
रिटेंशन मंथली अगर होगा, अगर आदमी का टेक होम बढ़ेगा मंथली, तो एक वन ऑफ द मतलब मोटिवेशन फॉर रिटेंशन है।
बट मोटिवेशन में वी आर ऑलरेडी गिविंग देम 100%। क्वार्टरली में 100% लेके नेक्स्ट मंथ में रिजाइन करूं एंड देन यू विल ट्राई टू रिटेन मी, और उसमें भी 80% दोगे तो मेरे को तो 180% मिल जाएगा।
तो फॉर रिटेंशन हमको क्वार्टरली करे, मोटिवेशन के लिए मंथली दे। कि अगर हम वन शॉट में पेमेंट दे देंगे तो लेके भाग जाएगा, जो आपने बोला। तो रिटेंशन के लिए उसको हम लोग क्वार्टरली कर सकते हैं, मोटिवेशन के लिए मंथली दे सकते हैं।
ओके।
Because we have started this thing, out of the 100% of the incentive someone has been awarded, we are paying the 60% on a monthly basis payout, and 40% we're keeping hold, and which are paying on quarterly basis.
अच्छा, ओके।
We have split that thing into this way. We have introduced from last year this thing, and this is going good as for now.
ठीक है, then I think we are good enough to do.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that is good now.
Yes, ma'am, we are done.
Great. Yeah, so can someone, whoever wants to be the MC and whoever wants to present it?
Anyone?
Yeah, who's taking the lead to present it? Yes, is it Rahul or somebody else, or yeah, who's doing the presenting?
Anyone who wants to take this up?
You may go ahead.
Okay. So ma'am, basically we have taken this A to F categories,
Yeah,
in
if you
which
read out, yeah.
and percentage we have defined in
No, can you read out what are those A to F?
yes. It's increase in sales on non-branded products.
Good.
Second one is increasing in footfall.
Okay.
Then we are saying that increase in sales volume of 12 to 15%.
Okay.
Then control attrition,
All right.
increase in customer centricity,
All right.
and manner of interaction with customers.
Okay. So these are all some of your functional and HR
Yes,
intents or purpose of
intents.
having this incentive plan, right?
Right.
Oh, great.
Okay. So on the step 2, which is eligibility.
Yeah. Who are the
The
people who are eligible for this incentive?
Yeah, so we have considered all the sales people, sales manager, assistant manager, admin officer, and officer boy who will be a part of this incentive plan.
So essentially what you're saying that all the people who are working in this retail or a store chain, because directly or indirectly, they will impact the sales. So
Yes,
all of them are there in this incentive plan, right?
incentive plan. Yes.
Okay.
With the third measurement criteria, we have said that if all the above criteria are fulfilled, then 100% in intent, functional, and sales,
Okay.
with 80% in level 2 and 50% in level 3.
All right. So this is the performance criteria you have kept.
Yes.
Okay. For the sales people, all right. Now, can I just make a small suggestion? Typically, what happens? Increasing footfalls. So if I'm a person, if I'm an office boy who works till 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, or what am I going to do? Quickly shut the store and go away, right?
Right.
And sometimes what happens, your customers keep coming after office hours. So maybe they're just entering when this office boy is shutting the stores. So he might try tell them, oh, no, 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 no. I'm sure you must have experienced a situation where people will tell you, we are shutting it. And they will ask the inside people also, we are shutting it. Please quickly finish and go, right?
Right.
Doesn't cooperate. Now this office boy is at a very low level and a less salary, right? So sometimes you can also think of, would you like to give him just a lump sum amount, right?
Right.
Or would you like to give him a lump sum plus something so that he can also see the line of sight, in the sense saying that, if at an organization level, everybody gives that, they press that, no, I'm satisfied, you are taking customer feedback.
Yeah.
So you also have gone through it. So then everybody gets a small share of that. No?
Correct.
Recall? So office boy also gets some amount, sales guy gets, warehouse guy gets, everybody. So to increase your customer centricity, are you noticing something you can create there? Now, getting? I mean, you can also create these levels, percentages, etc. But at a lower level, when you're creating incentive plans, not necessary that you have to put them into those plans. You can give them lump sum amounts. Okay?
Okay.
Like, for example, for the warehouse guy, ensuring that, how many times has he missed that if I as a customer was wanting a particular product and it is not there in the warehouse. Got it? What has he done about it? Has it been? So are you incentivizing, saying that, 100% availability of the product, then you're giving him something? Because only if there is a product availability, then the sales guy will say, oh, I want a 5, I like something, and my size is 6. And then I tell the warehouse guy, and he says, oh, we don't have 6 size. Will I come back to your shop? I'll go to some other shop and pick it up. No? So I've lost sales. So you need the cooperation, collaboration. That's where I said gain sharing. You need the collaboration of all the people. No?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just giving you an insight here as to, okay. Now let's get into the other one. So you got my points, the group. Did the group get what I am trying to say?
Yeah.
Yes, Virendra?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Now let's go to the payment mode. Yeah.
So here we are saying that for motivation, we'll pay 100% on every monthly. For attraction 80% and retention 80% on every quarterly
No.
basis.
What I'm trying to say when I said payment mode, if X amount has to be paid, okay? Now, to the office boy, will you still say yearly I will pay, or will you? So every month you'll pay that whatever you 100% you'll pay, right? Okay, for a sales guy, you want to retain some of them. So what will you do? You will pay maybe 80% monthly and 20% you'll pay maybe at the end of the year. Are you with me?
Yes.
Why you want to retain that guy? Or you may be giving an extra bonus.
We
So
can say
that is what I'm talking
20%.
about. That is what I'm talking about when I said monthly, quarterly. Okay?
Yes.
Got it? So
Got it.
you got it on the reverse side here. No?
Yeah.
Are you getting me now? Yeah. Have you noticed at a low level, you typically pay every month? For the top management, it's like sales manager can get every 6 months or maybe at the end of the year. The sales people typically can get 80% every month and maybe some percentage, 20%. And like an office boy can get an additional bonus annually, but lump sum amount every month. So that way. Because you want to retain people, right?
Right.
Okay, so that is the funda behind the payment. So did you get an insight into how you have to design an incentive plan and what are some of the things which you need to consider, guys, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, now I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Okay, you all must be wondering, oh my God. Tell me now, you can pull it down. Tell me, I'm going to write now. Thank you so much and wonderful for this team effort, guys. You can actually give a good applause to yourself. Good job done. Huh? The entire team has done a good job. Now, tell me, you've done a very good plan. Everything has been done. Yet, from your experience, many times, why do variable incentives sometimes fail? What is my question? Why do variable incentives fail? They don't achieve their intent. You agree? Yeah. What are some of the reasons? See, every time you design something, you should also understand, hey, what are some of the things for which this can fail? So what are some of the reasons for which variable pay plans fail?
Employees start to assume that this is a part of my fixed salary.
Pardon?
Employees tend to assume that this variable pay should be a part of my fixed salary.
Who said this? Virendra.
Anirban.
Huh?
Anirban.
Anirban, you
Yes,
are
ma'am.
not there, Anirban, because I'll tell you why. When I was the vice president in the Sutherlands, we used to recruit associates at an entry level. Okay. And my recruiters and also their business heads, how they used to sell the job. Okay. You will get 30,000 per month. Your guaranteed fixed salary and an additional amount of 15,000 you can earn. So that means you can get 45,000. All right. Now these guys, once they join and everything, what happens? A month on month, this additional 15,000 used to be given how they used to use what? The bell curve. So you know what happens in the bell curve? That only 10 to 15%, it's like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rating scale where 5 will be 15%, 2 will be, so maximum people will get only about 60%. You agree?
Yes.
So you are absolutely right. So this has to be very clear. I don't like, unethical ways of cheating people and say, hey, you will get this much. But when I actually come, I'll be so dissatisfied and demotivated saying that I thought I'm going to get this much. And that is what these entry level executives would say. I thought we were getting 15,000, but here I'm not even getting sometimes 5,000 or 6,000. So I think when you hire, you have to explain very, very clearly. Very important, Virendra. Good point. Yeah. They think it's a part of their guaranteed salary, right? Yeah. Then what else? Why do they fail?
So no clarity on the sales target at the start of the quarter.
Okay, clarity, not sufficient clarity given, right? Yeah.
That evaluation.
Huh?
No, no,
That evaluation of the process.
Okay,
Correct.
evaluation is not done. Okay, yeah.
no timely payouts of incentives.
So what happens then? People get disillusioned. No?
Yeah.
They will say, what is this? We are doing our best and then there is no payment. Not done. Yep. Very good. Then? Okay. Now, why do you want to give variable place? Because you want people to stretch, or you want people to work beyond their scope of job description, etc. And you want top performers to stretch, etc. But at the same time, some of the organizations have so many incentive plans, they're not actually aligned with what I call it as not aligned with
Business goals.
the big goal, what I call it as the organization's goal, right? What we typically call it as line of sight. Have you heard this? Line of sight?
Yeah.
Have you heard this? I'm sure everybody. If I'm working as a senior manager, personal administration, or if I'm working as a deputy manager, HR, I need to connect what I do with the line of sight, means what I do with what is the big picture, with what is the business objective. Only when I can see a line of sight, then I'll be able to do my work very efficiently and effectively. So if some of the incentive plans like a stopgap, knee-jerk reactions, etc., then they will not actually spur of the moment, then they will not actually achieve the bigger plan or what we really want to achieve when it comes to the business objectives. Now, you will actually notice a lot of variable incentive plans. There will be so many. For everything, there will be so many. So these are some things which we need to really take into consideration. Okay. Okay, guys. So any questions on variable pay plan before we get into a very interesting topic? Any questions? Any questions, guys?
I actually had one question, ma'am.
Yeah.
So if you talk about these variable plans, the options which are given in the salary structure in terms of the allowances for the employees in order to save their taxes. So will that be considered as a variable plan, or will that be considered as a tax saving options?
No. Who is this? Is it
Rahul.
Rahul. No. You got a little mixed up.
I just wanted to clarify this thing.
Yeah. Variable pay plan is totally different, and your allowances which are given on your pay slip are essentially to reduce your tax burden.
Tax burden, correct.
And also allowances has to be such that they should actually have under the tax law whether you have a tax exemption or not. For example, why HRA is put there? Because there is you need an house, so the government says yes, for an HRA we will give tax exemption, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Now medical and conveyance has been clubbed together, so under standard
standard deduction,
you are getting that amount, right? And then again for LTA you need to go to a place home.
It's a domestic travel. Yeah.
So government says, hey, we can't the tax him on that. So if you don't, then you are taking salary, but for which tax will be deducted. But if you put a component there, then you will get tax exemption.
Right.
Okay.
Can we use this attire part, uniform allowance or an attire allowance also in those components?
So there was a big debate. It came under the radar. So what has happened when it came as a uniform allowance definitely has tax exemption. But people, what happened, just like a meal allowance Sodexo, started giving huge amount, 30,000, 40,000 under that guard.
Monthly basis.
Tax man also is very clever. He says, hey, like, so let me tell you about meal allowance. So 30,000, do you eat so much? What we are telling you is, so they fixed a cap on it. You give any amount, it will be taxed. But under the meals allowance line item, tax exemption is given only for those 50 rupees
50 rupees per meal.
meal.
Meal, yeah.
And that 200 rupees for 2 meals you can eat 2 meals. And then those week 2 days, I mean 4 days you don't get because you are not working also. So it is 2200, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then similarly, uniform allowance also, it is negotiable to a certain extent. You have to justify, you have to have a policy, but exorbitantly you can't show amount. The company can't show amount and say, hey, this has to be tax deducted. Got it? This is
Right.
like saying, you know, everybody you are giving a conveyance allowance, okay?
Correct.
In one company.
Any suggestion from your side that what should be the capping in terms of the from the organization perspective?
So it depends, you know, in fact, like for example, there are some roles which are really client interfacing and you really have to, you know, wear a proper, so it needs a dry cleaning, it needs washing, maintenance, etc. So to a certain extent, between 5 to 10,000 you allow. So it is
Monthly
a
basis.
so, but the taxman has not given any cap on it like Sodexo.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
it depends on how organization is able to negotiate. Okay. For
Okay.
example, there is this company which was giving under this reimbursement, you know, conveyance allowance.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the taxman came. So what was the practice of this company? There was a bill, huh? That bill would be filled in and stamped, and every employee would get of that. Now the taxman said, first of all, what did he check? He said, okay, how many people are there presently in the location, and how many people are offshore? So he looked at that number, offshore people. Then he looked at whether they were also claiming for those people. Now the company was claiming 100% for everybody, conveyance allowance. Okay. Now, when a person is not there, can you claim conveyance?
No.
So you got to be very careful when you do such, when organization does such things, right? They had to, then because they are smelt rat, they had to pay something huge amount of money, you know, because they had to pay arrears for 4-5 years. So that's where it is. Okay, is that clear, Rahul?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Also, I'm showing this, like, you know, that all organizations, just like an employee life cycle, just like a human life cycle, they also go through a life cycle, right? Huh? So the life cycle of an organization is like, you know, it can be a growth stage or an infancy stage. That means startup stage, right? And once then it grows. So that means when at the growth stage, it actually, you know, starts putting processes in place, everything in place, and then there is a maturity phase. Then what happens after the maturity? There is a decline phase, and then once you are in a decline mode, you need to do something for a renewal phase. Okay. So why I'm explaining this life cycle is that in the context of a variable pay, where do you think variable pay will be used maximum? Typically.
Growth stage.
Huh?
Growth and probably
Yeah,
renewal.
absolutely. Growth, and sometimes even in a renewal phase, because you have declined. So you want to do renewal. So you want people to, nothing, variable pay is what? You want people to perform more, stretch more. So just think about when you want them to do it. So at a renewal stage, you want them to really perform more. And when will they perform? When you actually show more carrots. So that's the time when you want to do. Even at a startup stage, you are showing more carrots. Why? Because, you know, you want it to grow. So you will give ESOPs, etc. Right? Is this very clear? Just in the context of an employee life cycle, how do you use variable pay plans?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, what is the purpose of a variable pay plan? That means you want them to stretch, perform more. Okay. You don't want to pay a fixed cost, because fixed cost means money, no? Month on month. Now, also I want to give this point of view for you that every time employees want a hike, there is up to certain level that you can increase the fixed salary. Can you keep increasing the fixed salary all the time?
No.
No, ma'am.
Because obviously it has to be comparable with what the market is paying, how much you can afford to, right? So, but how will you then retain people, your top performers? There should be a way out to retain your people. So the other route is having very good, robust variable pay plan, so that employees are able to make more money by stretching more, by doing more work. Are you getting that point very, very clear, guys? Because
Yes.
there's a limit up to which you can actually increase your, what is it, fixed pay, or what I call it as base salary, no? Okay, but some organizations do these mistakes, and that's how they land into troubles. Okay. Okay. So just to give you a sense of those payouts, so I'll just take another 5-10 minutes here. If you see Delhi, when you are paying, you could have a payout monthly, biannually at a lower level. Okay. And typically for a top level, you pay them in a annual and hot skill bonuses, etc. You actually pay them monthly or quarterly as cash payments. Equity, ESOPs, etc. are paid only when, because they are a retention tool. So they take time depending on the kind of, what is it, grant period. So they can be transacted or they can be cashed depending on the grant period. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to give you this very good understanding of, okay. Just don't look at total reward planning. Actually, this is under the benefits. All right. Now, I want to take just about 5 to 10 minutes on benefits. In today's times, I'm sure all of you understand that benefits are becoming a very important indirect or non-monetary part of the compensation, and a great attracting and also retention tool. All right. What are some of the benefits your organizations are giving in your organizations? What are some of the benefits?
Insurance.
Just to do some, what is that, brainstorming? Yeah.
Medical insurance.
Okay. Medical insurance.
Medical accidental insurance. Term
Okay.
insurance.
Insurance. I'll put everything under medical insurance. And,
yeah, insurance.
okay. All right.
Gratuity.
Okay. Gratuity. Anybody else? Yeah. I'm sorry.
So discount on buying products.
Gratuity. Then
certain amount
Madam,
of discount.
gratuity is a statutory. Madam,
I'm writing there. I'm going to. I've not given my view. Yeah.
So I have an objection on gratuity. Rather, I can say that canteen facilities or something else. Also,
can I say meal?
Subsidized canteen.
Can I write
Subsidized canteen.
Meal vouchers. Meal vouchers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Car, club membership, car, discount on buying
I'll just
products.
take one or two more. That is club membership.
Accommodation.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So why I wanting to talk about benefits is typically what happens when we are talking about benefits. Definitely at every level you are talking about something very, very important. What I've written it here as mandated. That means all employees will have to be given, what is that? Right? Will you agree? Statutory benefits, no? That means as per government regulations, you have to comply with certain statutory laws. like for example, insurance or gratuity or PF or ESIC, etc. So you don't have a way out. You just have to comply by it. Yes or no?
Yes.
So all those. But over and above, now what happens? Organizations are giving, say for example, you are saying insurance, other than the statutory medical insurance, group insurance, etc. Organizations are also giving, extending that insurance to families, other members of the family, etc. Why? Because when you buy in bulk, you will get your premium at a what? Lesser rate or higher rate?
Yes. Lesser rate.
So that discount, they will pass it on to their employees. Yes. Okay. Now, not only insurance, they're also buying a lot of other things, bulk. What? They're also saying, hey, grocery. They keep a concierge, check what are the groceries needed, by and large, some bulk items. And then that indent is sent to the store. And so when they buy in bulk, and of course, then they're not even kept in the office inventory, nothing. They're given directly sent to the home. What happens? You are passing on the discount. You get massive discounts. It could be even white goods. It could be even furniture. The Tatas do it in a big way. So are you with me? Now, most of the organizations are realizing that it doesn't cost us much, but it's a great benefit for people. Yes or no, guys? Huh? Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
Then, besides that, now at an entry level, obviously, there's not much of a tax to be paid. But at a medium and at a middle level, at a top level, there is tax. So what is happening now? You are also having certain benefits which are tax saving benefits. Something like what I talked about, annuity plan. You recall in my first session, I talked about it. Yeah, if you are on a high, what is it, high salary,
Yeah.
instead of getting it as tax deducted, you can actually save this tax amount by investing it. So organization will what is it, float a scheme, and then they'll say, hey, we are actually extending this scheme to all our middle and top level people, an annuity plan. You can, to this extent of money, you can save tax. That's one. Now, besides that, you are also giving, I talked about this cost saving, which, you buy bulk. Now, other than that, at every level, you are again talking about a flexible basket. What is it? You are entitled by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 benefits. Okay. Then, for example, I'm saying, I'm offering you, you see, high a gym. I've kept a very, I put in a lot of money, pumped in a lot of money, and put up a gym. But you find that the usage of gym is absolutely 10% and 20%. You have people who don't want to go in for a gym. Okay. So therefore, say for example, people like you will say, hey, but we have these trainings. So if you can opt for trainings also. So what is it? At every level, I give you a choice of benefits depending on your entitlement. So you can choose. Then what happens? You get higher value because the benefit is your choice. So organizations are now getting into what we call it as a cafeteria or a flexible basket, where you can opt for whatever benefits you want, depending on the amount which you are entitled for every level. Okay, that's. Then the next is branding benefits. Now here you have no choice. What is branding? Say if I'm an Infosys company, I say I'm a learning company. So I will ensure that all my employees go through number of hours of training, certification, etc. I invest a lot of money, effort in sending them to, for higher education, tying up with certain great institutes, because I want to ensure that there is quality of my human capital is increased. So for example, if I'm a Google company, which actually says my value is creativity and innovation across all the levels, I will ensure that they are given a lot of training, they are given a lot of development in terms of creativity. So that's called branding, where you have no choice, but you are giving it across all levels, depending on the intensity, this kind of a, which is actually a benefit, because it builds also, the career planning is interwoven with it. So these are called branding benefits. Can you think of some branding benefits in certain organizations? Anybody?
Participation in the skill development program is a
Pardon?
branding benefits. Participation in the skill development program. And say,
See,
for
now,
example,
of course,
CIO.
COVID, in fact, there was some organizations which were branding as, that we give you flexi kind of a option to work. You can work from home, you can work from anywhere. That used to be one of the branding. Because of COVID now, you are forced to work virtual and flexi, etc. Right? Earlier on, that also used to be branded. So people would like to join such organizations, because they would say, hey, you have an option there. You can actually, work from anywhere. You have the option to work from home, work from any location, etc. Okay. So this, I was wanting to give you a little about the benefit planning, how important it is, and why people have actually started doing even benefit analytics, is that you're spending a certain percentage of your wage cost on benefits. Now, if you are not going to get a return on it, right? So what's the point of giving a benefit? So now it is the ROI. So every year, then you are evaluating if you are actually extending these benefits. Is your productivity going up? Is your, absenteeism reduced? Is your attrition reduced? So they are looking at certain metrics as well. Okay, guys. Yeah. So quickly, we have little time and very important topic. Let me just get back to this topic now.
CSR also is considered as branding, no?
Some of the organizations, CSR is more towards community, etc., which becomes a part of your total reward strategy. Absolutely. But CSR initiative is more towards, that you have certain kind of a community responsibility. And some organizations are very high. Of course, with this regulation of, 1% or 2% of CSR initiative, which makes it, absolutely important for people to also spend in CSR, right? But it's not directly branding. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, let me just rub this. I think. Okay. Yeah. Now, what we are going to talk about is the total reward planning. Say, for example, you are the HR head and your CEO will ask you, saying that, hey, what is your budget for the next year? What is your wage cost budget for the next year? How will you go about? What is that? How will you go about, or what is the first thing you will do? How would you try to calculate your budget? Just a quick response. One response is, you are an HR head. All of you are HR heads. So your CEO is asking you, hey, what is your wage cost budget for next year? Then how will you plan, and how will you tell him what it is? Any idea? Okay. Yes or anybody has a clue? No? All right. Okay. Now, typically when we talk about reward planning, what does it mean? Hey, what is the money you really need, which will actually take care of all your payroll costs, everything, wage costs, etc. So how do you plan that? So there is something called what we typically call it as compensation pool. That means what is the kind of compensation cost to the revenue? Okay. What is the compensation cost to your revenue? How do you plan that? So typically you go by a last year compensation. So if you have spent about 200 million in the last year, your wage cost, then if you have to plan your budget for next year, what is that you will take into consideration? First thing, you will take into consideration, hey, is my revenue going to be increased? So you will need to ask your business saying that, are we increasing our revenue? So what is the revenue plan? Say, for example, the revenue plan is to increase by 25%. So obviously the compensation pool or the wage cost pool will correspondingly go up by 25%. So if it goes up by 25%, so which is equal to 50 million. So therefore, your new budget, last year's pool is 200. Your new budget will be 200 plus 50, which is equal to 250 million. This is your budgeted figure. Okay. Now, just like the finance guy, now you have to look at all the line items when you are doing a planning. First of all, what will you consider under first block? You will say, hey, in this new year, will there be any additional kind of a cost incurred because of the new changes in statutory compliances or regulatory compliances? For example, all of you know that the wage code is going to be implemented. When that wage code is going to be implemented, there will be some increase in wage costs, etc. Okay, think about it. So likewise, so when you're going to do a, so you have to look at the first and the foremost thing is to look at compliances. So I will say, hey, ballpark figure 10 million is the cost, increased cost. So I'll put 10 million. Then I'm going to increase my revenue. So obviously I'm going to also hire people. So for hiring and being very, very competitive for the new employees, I'm going to again increase my costs. So I'll put a ballpark figure. This is a line item. I'm checking line item by line item, saying, okay, 20 million. Then again, I'm looking at it internal saying, hey, I'm not able to attract and retain my people. So maybe I need to change my variable pay plans again. So I'm going to incur a little more on that. So on the variable pay plan item, I'm going to increase by 10 million. Then maybe, certain set of people, my supervisory people, I need to really change that. They have to be given a better upskilling, etc. I need to attract the right kind of a talent for that. So maybe I will actually incur another 2 million there. So what am I essentially looking at? I'm actually forecasting which are those areas where I'm going to increase my costs in terms of wages. So these are the items. Then, hey, I have to give annual increments. So obviously, on an average, maybe 4% I can look at, even if I get 4%. So if I take up the wage cost, so it will translate into 8 million. Then I see that, my internal equity is not in place, that employees, they are not being paid fairly. I may need to grade shift. I may need to do some market corrections, etc. So I will again incur under these items 1 million, 4 million, etc. Then I see that suddenly there is some kind of, cost of living, inflation has gone up, cost of living in allowance has to be given, DA has to be given. So I may have to incur 1 million. So what have I now done? I've taken into consideration all the possible line items and looked at them and then extrapolated, saying that these are the possibility areas and where I can incur costs. When I add up all that, if you see, I added all that, it comes up to 256 million. But what is my budgeted figure?
250.
What is my budgeted figure?
250.
250.
250, yeah.
250. Now my CEO won't budge 250 million and I've already come to 256. So I'm in excess of how much? 6 million. So what will I do then? Like a typical HR head, what will I do? I will again go back and see where I can reduce, right? 6 million. So where I can reduce, say for example, maybe I will say 8 million. So I will say reduce maybe 7 million there. What is very, very important, I'll have to keep it there. So I'm trying to get 1 million there less. Then market correction, maybe I'll say, okay, 3 million. Then here, what is it? Competitiveness. Again, I will cut off some 2 million there. I'll say 18. Then again, attraction, retention, I will say again 2 million. So I'll go to 8 million. So somehow I will try and then balance and say, ensure that the 256 will come to only 250 million. So what essentially is total reward planning? That means that I take into consideration all the line items and ensure that in the coming year, what are the kind of hikes I will see in those line items, and then offset that kind of a money there, and then see that it actually balances with my budget. Now, and then see what is the percentage to the revenue. The total wage cost should be a percentage of the revenue. Now, why am I talking about this employee cost to revenue, ECR ratio? Please remember, this is very important. What is ECR ratio?
Employee cost to revenue.
This is a metric all compensation guys have to be all the time. So typically what is, if I were to ask you, what is your ECR ratio in your organization? Anybody knows? Okay. What is ECR? EMPLOYE, employee cost to revenue. Oh. Okay. Now, why is it very important? In a manufacturing organization, guys, this ECR ratio is typically, let me tell you, benchmark again. It's 4% to at best 5%. Okay. It's a benchmark. Now, why should you also know the benchmark in your peer organization? What is the ECR ratio? Because with the increase of the ECR ratio, what is the impact on the product and services? What is the impact? If your ECR ratio is high, what happens? Please.
Profit, my profitability will get reduced.
Absolutely. Your cost will go up. Huh? Cost will go up. So when cost goes up, what will happen? Profit will come down. Right? Very clear? So if you know, the CEO is always wanting to know, hey, what is the ECR? Because every small 0.1, 0.2% also will impact your profits. Okay. So when you actually start doing total reward planning, you need to also calculate that what is the ECR ratio of your competitors. Now you may say, how will I know the ECR ratio of my competitors? Will they give me? Very simple. Every company has to be audited. They have a balance sheet. Right?
Yeah.
They will have a profit and loss. Huh? So even if you are a startup organization, you can't say that you will have a huge employee cost. No, you can still say, if I'm a startup, I'm an IT company, then I will say, okay, what is Wipro's ECR? Huh? Say if it is 15%. And I'm sorry. And if TCS is, you say 17%, and say Infosys is something like, say, for example, 13%, then depending on where I want to position myself, you have the benchmark of ECR within which industry you want to actually perform. You will say, okay, fine, I will go with, something like an average 15%. Are you with me? Because definitely you can't have a 20-25% ECR, because obviously, your competitors will then price it at much lesser, and you can't afford it. So ECR is very, very important, employee cost. So when you're doing a total reward planning, you have to first of all start with what is your ECR. Okay, and check what was your employee cost last year. Is it really fitting in with my ECR ratio when I benchmark it with my peers or my competitors? That's how you are able to compete. So this is what is called total reward planning. In the end, I will just take 2-3 minutes more to introduce a nice, interesting concept called, as I introduced, total reward planning. Now I'm talking about total reward. What is total reward strategy? Anybody?
Is it a combination of fixed pay plus variable pay plus incentive plans plus stock options plus, I mean, the way we do that?
You spoke. So when we talk about total reward planning, is an annual exercise you do it, which talks about wage cost, UCR ratio, etc. But then when I talk about total reward strategy, this is the current currency which world at work. You please go to the internet and find out who came up with this world at work. Who came up with this? This is a large non-profit body which says it is just not compensation, benefits, variable pays. It is everything right from the time a person joins the organization till the time the person actually exits. So it's the entire employee life cycle. So he says that as per the total reward strategy, if I want to achieve my business objectives, I need to have 100% committed, satisfied employees. I need to attract them, motivate them, and retain them. But if I want to attract, retain, and motivate these 100% committed, satisfied employees, what I need to do is I need to have a total reward strategy. So under total reward strategy, there are 5 elements or components. One is, we are talking about compensation. Okay. And I will put as variable pay also. So when I said variable pay. So when I said compensation, I want to then define it as saying that base plus what? Base plus variable pay. Got it? Okay. We're talking about base pay and variable pay. The next is, what kind of benefits are you giving? The next is all kinds of I'm talking about performance management. The kind of, recognitions, everything you're doing when you're okay. Then I'm talking about work balance. That is work-life balance. Then I'm talking about development. When I'm saying development, I'm talking everything about my learning, training, everything what you're doing under this. Are you with me, guys? So it is not just about compensation, that is base salary, variable pay, benefits, but also includes how do you recognize a person for his performance management? How are you doing things in the area of how are you developing him? What kind of work-life balances are you giving? What kind of learning and training, development are you giving? Okay, just to